and we will see how this takes them.
So that's enough for them to get started. Both of them starting in Link's house to pick up their first 10 arrows. A handy pickup because there's not really a lot of great places to pick up arrows until you get to, say, a few dungeons. They look to be heading towards Link's uncle, and this does afford them an opportunity to take advantage of their tree pulls. Unfortunately, they're going to need to pull the tree once before they can activate the Tier 3 pull, which has the bombs that they're looking for. So they may end up coming back to this tree, although it's going to be kind of annoying to farm.
Well, they're sensing something beside Uncle. Oh, wait, Uncle has something as well. Beside Uncle? Silver arrows, Uncle with the boots, both high-powered items.
You know, this is an important lore explanation we just received for how Link's uncle manages to get all the way to the sewers and die before you can get there.
Yeah,
Speaking of farming.
Yep, does explain a lot, and yeah, WeightyWords taking out those enemies intentionally, probably setting up that tree pull that you mentioned. 3 tiers of tree pulls. Go ahead.
Yeah, he just needs to kill 4 enemies without taking damage before doing the tree pull. Now that does carry over through a save and quit, and WeightyWords does have an opportunity to pull a statue on the right if he wants to continue going south. Instead, he's going to opt to preserve it and continue heading west, where g3rd0 is already in Kakariko.
Alright, Blind's Hut. 5 items possible. Hopefully we don't need bombs here. Well, Piece of Heart was not what we were looking for. That magic mirror was. And extra money along with... Ooh, wait, well, there's Misery Mire and TR front gate access. We just have to get to the other areas. Hello there, Flute.
You know, the other day I was caught saying that 5 minutes to free the bird was something of a Hyrulean record. WeightyWords in position to make it half of that. We'll have fast travel in, yet again, record time.
And with the hammer equipped and flute on hand, let's let them play.
So if the hammer is in the back of the brewery, or the bar, I suppose, is he getting hammered back there?
Sorry about that. I tried to pay attention to the Hyrulean national anthem there.
It is an absolutely beautiful tune, and those docile tunes, in fact, raise, the ire of the bird. The little known lore fact here is that the bird really hates that tune, and that's why they leave the statue. They're just gone. He just doesn't like it.
Then how come whenever the tune is played, the bird comes back?
See, he's kind of like the cuckoos, who really hate it when you swing at him. So basically, he picks you up and takes you somewhere else just to get you and himself away from the music.
I don't know if I follow your logic there. But it's okay.
If we said that the world of Link to the Past is kind of like the Great Sea in Wind Waker, that would be the Quacken, actually.
Okay, I've played Wind Waker before. I don't remember any quacking creature.
See, it's a great point. This takes place canonically before Wind Waker, so I think it all adds up.
I think we have our timelines mixed up. Let's focus on the well.
Wait a second, that Nintendo does too.
Fair point. Ooh, have some protection. But is there more to it?
Well, we're hoping that none of these racers end up having the downfall in this one. However, as you mentioned, that sword right away here in the well is a fantastic find. It seems like WeightyWords is spending less time on some of these locations than g3rd0 is. Perhaps this is a element of watching the other person on stream.
We should mention that because this is a spoiler open race, our runners are allowed to gain almost any knowledge they want! Oh, okay, knowledge does not help much against dead rocks, or falling rocks. Rocks are bad, folks.
Yeah, there's no amount of being on the restream that, will stop those flying cabbages and dead rocks from having the worst RNG in Earth. However, thankfully that's a quick death, and they have the flute. So in, say a regular speedrun sense, this would be a much more annoying death.
Right,
who am I kidding? There's no such thing as a not annoying dead rock death.
That is fair. WeightyWords senses treasure in the front half of the escape. But we have to navigate the treacherous guards in order to do that. While g3rd0, using that magic mirror, moving up to Tower of Hera, it looks like. While we did see a bottle pickup on WeightyWords' side. Okay, so g3rd0 senses treasure here. Either that or senses a pedestal pickup. We will see what happens based off of what g3rd0 does. Having that big key up front will certainly help.
Yeah, it makes for a fast climb up top, and the fact that he's not heading towards the basement suggests that the key layout is friendly for going all the way to the top. We do, of course, have both that big key, and that's pretty much all we're going to need to get up there. Now, as you mentioned before, this is a pendant dungeon, so unless we need the pedestal, there's something else in here.
It's going to be one of two, maybe both.
Fair enough, absolutely. And WeightyWords, in the meantime, busting out his office skills, going to go check Zelda's Excel spreadsheet. See, he just needs to edit that cell, and then he's got his information.
Well, Master Sword certainly helps. Power Glove for g3rd0, and they're leaving.
I may have touched on some painful data for Synak here. He's giving me a bit of a groan in chat. I'm assuming that the Excel spreadsheet joke was not landing. But WeightyWords here, I thought for a second there he was going to pull on that statue. That's actually another place that you can grab a tier pull from, that far right one in the area just south of Link's house. A little bit less commonly used, but a really convenient one no less.
Perhaps all we need for better jokes is some improved access. Word? Okay, maybe I'll stop now.
You know, I think we're both on that train, but, you know, I think we just got to keep that train going.
That's an excellent PowerPoint. Ooh, Kana Samaria.
Okay, I wasn't ready for that one. That was good. Next slide, please.
Alright, take it, Clippy. g3rd0 with shovel in hand from Paradox Cave, going to immediately turn it in while WeightyWords heading over to Ice Rod Cave.
And you made a really good point earlier, or maybe that was when we were just talking about the seed beforehand. There is some benefit to using some minor glitches here. WeightyWords activating a water walk. I mean, since you have boots, that's a really convenient way to get up here to the waterfall. Appears like WeightyWords is going to take advantage of that immediately.
I think that bow is worthwhile to grab early. Now we have immediate boss-killing power. g3rd0, though... Go ahead.
I was just saying, we'll see if you can string that along into more progression. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
This is the type of seed where we have to react fast. I completely get it. g3rd0, meanwhile, got, I think it was the Moon Pearl at the dig spot, so shovel is required today. But in the meantime, g3rd0 choosing the traditional approach of swim, fake flipper, swim, out-swim, WeightyWords, apparently became Neapolitan ice cream for a moment.
Yeah, was he trying to parlay with that parfait?
I wouldn't know. I'm actually not an ice cream person.
You know, there's a whole depth, a whole new world that you need to experience. I'm assuming that you can't eat ice cream.
I can, I just don't like the sudden cold or brain freeze effects it gives me.
Well, if you haven't tried Cold Stairs Creamery, I mean, you're kind of, really missing out.
Well, speaking of missing out, I don't think we want to miss out on Hype Cave here. g3rd0 senses treasure.
Yeah, and the hype index today is not so much a questionable thing, it's a certainty. g3rd0 picking up some flame, that's a hot fire cave at this point.
Yeah, but just for Fire Rod? I don't know if that's necessarily going to be enough to make it like a 10 out of 10 here. I mean, yes, we're going to need it for 2 dungeons, but at the same time...
Yo, but you know what's 10 out of 10 is WeightyWords' bomb setup for that bomb jump. If you didn't catch that, chat, He used a bomb to knock himself into position for the perfect bomb jump, and the second bomb knocked him over. It's a really nice setup, but it's kind of, you have to learn how to do it first. So that takes some time investment, but really nice way to make sure that you don't have to do a dash setup or a spin.
Alright, WeightyWords now in Paradox going to get the shovel. While g3rd0 is equipped to head into the Dark World now, and I suspect... Oh, no, hold on a second, we are forgetting something. Back of Escape. What treasure was hiding back there?
And interestingly enough, both of our runners are heading towards it.
Oh, Ice Rod. And Red Mill. Yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna have to take out Trinex, so... You know, let's have our elemental rods equipped and ready.
Well, on the bright side, this isn't a blind race, so that's not a cold lead for them, but definitely nice to check off of their inventory for later.
Yudai, I think with all the jokes we're making, we may need to chill a little.
Well, I mean, we can put it on ice, but I feel like the fans demand it.
Why is that one so funny? Anyway, g3rd0 is going to be the first to enter the Dark World. While, well, the main part of the Dark World, Sinak is going to probably, freeze our paychecks at the end of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can't be fired if we're getting our paychecks frozen. What are you talking about, Senak?
Anyway, g3rd0 taking the Village of Outcasts approach, entering Thieves Town. WeightyWords probably going to get that fire rod. And g3rd0, ooh! Trying to remember all of the locations right here. We know the big key is one of the first 4. That lantern not necessarily required anymore, because most of our runners do know about their darkroom navigation, but always a good safety to have.
Yeah, and another thing to kind of look at it with the lamp is it doesn't really take a lot of time to pick up that lamp, and depending on which dark rooms you expect to have to do, we do have Misery Mire on the table that we're definitely going to go through the basement in. So if it's on your way, I mean, it does make sense unless you're like really that consistent at the dark room. I would pick it up personally because I'm not good at them. But yeah, no fault to anybody for picking up one that's that easy to get. Wolfman, it appears that there are aggressive moves being taken in chat, attempting to take advantage of Skynet to bring us out of this one. Did I say Skynet? I meant Synac. Uh-oh, please don't ban me.
Just go with the flow, and if there is an issue, remember to open the pod bay doors.
Oh, but g3rd0 with the Hellway dash.
I mean, if you are able to get that pixel perfect alignment, it's always nice to get through the harmful hallway. Now, even if there's... Go ahead.
Well, stuff like that in this sort of setting is even more important. You know, we don't have the benefit of making a good routing decision as far as like, you know, hey, I managed to pick the exact right, you know, direction to go. These guys know what's going on. So, you know, any little tiny time save like that really does add up. That does put g3rd0 almost the whole dungeon ahead.
And it does, but now all we need to do is take care of that maiden. I don't recall if there are any other big items of importance, but again, our runner's treasure sense is certainly stronger than ours.
Yeah, that's something to speak of as well. A lot of people, if you're new to spoiler log races, for those of you in chat who are tuned in, A lot of runners, what they'll do is they'll find all the important progressive items and write those down, or even put it in a notepad document that's open, and they'll check the dungeons as they arrive to them for how they should approach the dungeons. So there's a lot of on the fly decision making to be done.
Alright, what is the pun of the day? I can't search the web. Too many links. It's an
That's
oldie
a
but a
tough time.
goodie. Wait, actually, now that I think about it, it's an oldie but a goodie from social media, but I do not recall that one being in the standard randomizer.
To my knowledge, that was one of the recent additions.
Well, shoutouts to the Spoiler Open Tournament organizers for putting in some additional text.
I'm really hoping one of the new Ganon texts and Triforce text makes its way into this seed.
And who knows, perhaps some of these will eventually be migrated to the main rando.
One could hope, one could dream. Yes, Chopin, that is definitely still a pun.
No, it's just a pun on the character we are placing, technically.
As it turns out, Blind just doesn't have Wi-Fi access, and that was really what the poem was about. As it turns out, when you're in the basement, you don't get good reception.
Don't remind me of the days of dial-up.
Hey, who's on the phone? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's too bad there's no post office and or any kind of like post box mechanism in this game, because the "you got mail" joke would just make itself.
I didn't realize we were suddenly using Hyrulean Online.
I can dig it. WeightyWords, second into the fight, will also have his scripted fight. Has the benefit of a slightly longer sword, which does actually make the fight a little bit easier in terms of phase 2 and 3. If you've never seen a blind fight before, this boss is scripted if you hit the boss on the first available frame on each of the 3 heads, which take 3 hits each. WeightyWords having a good fight so far. If you kill him to the left of the light there, and there's last pass, that's usually like a sign of a really well executed fight. Even then, just one extra hit to take a little longer. Certainly not a bad blind fight.
Alright, both runners have effectively retraced their steps, inventories, and crystal counts looking just about the same, so the question is, where will they head next?
WeightyWords appears to be heading towards Skull Woods. g3rd0 opting to head towards Palace of Darkness, actually.
Oh. Hold on a second. WeightyWords, mirror out. This is either going to be Graveyard Ledge or King's Tomb. And based off of that hard turn, I'm thinking King's Tomb. Oh no, like this game really wouldn't put the Titan's Mitts in there, would they? Because that would just be extremely rude, and I would want to fire the Seed Maker. Who is the Seed Maker? I want to fire them!
I think, unfortunately, if you were to suggest that to the Seed Maker, which was the bot, he would probably just reply with an emote. g3rd0, however, excellently executing the Kiki cutscene shortcut, or skip if you want to call it that. If you turn around just before you activate that cutscene trigger, Kiki actually gets closer to Link, saving you actually several seconds because of how slow that cutscene takes. So we are seeing it pointed out in chat that there hasn't been that much total difference in regards to how many items have been checked or where the important ones were. Both runners have a number of junk checks that the other don't. However, g3rd0 and WeightyWords are finally really diverging to a point where we haven't seen each other's stuff between Palace of Darkness and Thieves Town at this point. Or not Thieves Town, Skull Woods.
So g3rd0 taking the bow path. I missed what was in the first chest, but it was likely a big key or other item in order to force this path. WeightyWords, meanwhile, wants to head straight to Mothula. No real treasure to be found here in Skull Woods, apparently.
Yeah, by the looks of it, only one item that we can definitely skip, not required by logic, so Weighty Words will not be putting on a Superman impression today. Doesn't need to don that cape. g3rd0 does get a nice little small time save there, though, getting to use the Cane of Samaria on that block instead of doing a sexy statue.
Alright, red mail, 7 hearts, a few fire rod shots, master sword available. As long as the conveyor belt doesn't cause problems taking out Mothula, shouldn't be a big deal.
Well, it's a little annoying in that situation to be on the left since Mothula was heading to the right, and this is actually a very dangerous position to be fighting him in. But one really expertly used fire rod shot. I mean, with low magic to start with in the first place, Weighty Words closes out what could have been a deadly fight.
Indeed. Meantime, g3rd0 is approaching King Helmasaur in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, if it weren't for that red mail, this would be a lot like an NMG fight without the sandcart. Which would be scary, but thankfully we only take 1 heart of damage. Or maybe half a heart. I keep forgetting the reduction.
So, environmental hazards typically always take away 1 heart regardless of your mail, but contact from enemies or some of their projectiles, that depends on the damage tables.
Yeah, which are absolutely very wonky in this game, that's for sure. There's a lot of inconsistency between different armor sets and damage types. I mean, they're consistent within their own groups, but some things are just classed very weirdly for individual armors. But g3rd0 emerges victorious, only taking half a heart of damage, barely even having any kind of delays at all, and pretty friendly RNG, too.
Yeah, unlike, say, Zelda 1 or its randomizer, that one, all the damage is based off of... It's all proportion-based. Here, it just depends. Now, g3rd0 taking advantage of that mirror, heading straight into Eastern Palace. Now, we know there's a crystal here, a pyramid crystal at that, but I want to say there may be an additional item or two we may want to grab out of here. Will they sense it? Maybe not with that bunk.
Oh yeah, there is actually more than one thing I think might be worth picking up here. Now we did see... Well, I won't cut into that just until we find stuff, because they may end up skipping this item.
Ugh. Based off of g3rd0's path, the big key is vanilla.
Yeah, not only that, but g3rd0 did actually walk right by a possible green potion pickup, being that they haven't picked up the half magic yet, and I think at this point they may just skip it altogether. I'm actually kind of surprised to see that we're not picking up a green potion. That being said, though, it is very possible to do pretty much every dungeon in the game without any kind of magic refill potions, so if g3rd0 feels real good about his main game speedrun strats, may not feel the need to even stop at all for that.
I mean, if we're talking the chest just beyond the stalled children room, that one, I would have picked it up, but if it was like the initial bubble room, then I can kind of understand wanting to skip that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that we have the boots, but it's certainly a time investment.
Now, I thought I sensed treasure that g3rd0 just skipped in the big chest, but maybe I'm mistaken.
You are not wrong. g3rd0 did just walk away from a potential sword upgrade. I'm actually a little baffled by that, to be honest.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think g3rd0 realized their treasure senses calling them back. Head back! Or...
Now, while it's possible that g3rd0 could have heard us talking about that, the reality is that these runners are looking through their spoiler log as they go, and he probably realized, oh wait, that's the chest. I'll tell you though, it's definitely an advantage for WeightyWords in this situation because WeightyWords has a first pass opportunity. So even if any kind of advantage is conferred to g3rd0, that is definitely a time loss. Yeah, and Reg making a good point in chat is that we do have a little bit of stream delay as well, not like the 15 minutes that we had in previous tournaments, but and that's why I think g3rd0 probably looked at his own log, looking on the way to the boss fight.
And if we actually did say something, whoops.
Yeah, that's why we try to avoid being too spoilery about it, but you know, it happens. Of course, g3rd0 getting rocked by RNG throughout his second pass through here. Just before Zelda Gamer Room, that Cannonball Room was just vicious twice in a row. Doing a really cool silver strat though.
You've probably noticed I haven't made too many mention of specific items. This is partially why.
No, I think the real advantage is conferred to WeightyWords, who's had time to listen to us stumble through this.
Hi, WeightyWords chat. Hope you're doing well.
WeightyWords does have the one, or the dungeon pretty much ahead on g3rd0 right now. The Eastern Palace is a fast dungeon. g3rd0, however, does have the sword earlier, so if he wants to take advantage of that, now would be the best time to get some good combat in. Yeah, so it looks like both runners skipped that bottle.
Alright, looking at the remaining dungeons. So based off of crystals, we are missing... Well, between both of our runners, we haven't gone into Desert Palace yet, we haven't gone into Misery Mire yet, and we haven't gone into Turtle Rock yet. Now, I want to say that... Actually, I just realized something.
What's that, Wolfman?
I feel like we can complete most of these dungeons right now, but I still feel like we're missing something. My memory's just probably gone to garbage right now.
Well, you see, what I think you should do is you should take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. Perhaps that's what we're missing.
Whatever you say, LeVar.
Although, actually, as you mentioned it, we might be able to skip that entirely. The reason I bring up the book is because there's another reason they might want that book. And, again, optional, but, you know, potentially useful if you weren't picking up the Eastern Palace sword.
I think I know what you're talking about. But let's just see how this goes here.
Yes, despite a small stumble with the Gorias there, the red Gorias, WeightyWords jumping into his Eastern Palace boss fight with Armos Knights, while g3rd0's already on Mothula with a very nice back half of Skullids.
I especially liked the initial dash attack on Mothula, able to bonk into the block while still damaging.
Yeah, and that's good enough for 2 hits.
And thus, it is right now a tied game. 4-4. And, oh! WeightyWords forgot some treasure!
Yeah, so that's both of our runners who are diving back in. And WeightyWords actually has the longer diversion to go this way. g3rd0 saving that sword find. So I guess this kind of reveals a little bit about how both of these runners are looking at the spoiler log. Both of them were looking for the required items and then checking the dungeons as they pass. Apparently, WeightyWords realizing that he doesn't have that tempered and had an opportunity here. We do get an interesting point being raised in chat from Runner Watcher about how if you could hover, this might be a potential advantage. Being that Swamp Palace is a pendant, you know, that's not exactly outside of the realm of consideration here.
Not neat. That's the item I was thinking about. We can complete all these dungeons without the hookshot.
Yes, but can we get all the items that we need without the hookshot? Another thing to consider, of course, is whether or not they can hover at all. That would be the one big thing is Moldorm 2 gap. I don't think anybody in this spoiler tournament is going to show us the Moldorm bounce.
Oh yeah, that recent discovered thing where if you time it just right, you can bounce off, be blown apart at the same time, and just make it across somehow.
I mean, it's been hypothetical for like a decade and a half. It's just, the actual execution of it was only pretty recently.
Fair enough. g3rd0 has just picked up their Titan's Mitts. WeightyWords diving into Misery Mire. g3rd0 following suit.
Well, no sword beams to work with, but WeightyWords will get a 2-cycle Mire 2. Not a bad Mire 2, but that hit from the Murderdactyl, really unfortunate. g3rd0 with a little bit of time save potential here.
Alright. WeightyWords is apparently suspecting a quick... Wait a second, just going for... Right.
Yeah, this isn't an NMG.
Yeah. I was wondering why this seemed familiar, but apparently we are having a very similar to a no major glitches any % run right here. Are we the only difference? We're going up and not down.
Well, if NMG conventions are to be believed, hitting torches in Misery Mire would be about the 20-minute mark from the end of your run. So if WeightyWords were to hold true on that, that'd be an exceptional finish time today. g3rd0 with his Mire 2 just a moment ago did save 1 cycle over WeightyWords, but not quite a very hefty time save that he's probably looking for. Alright, so both of our runners do have Lamp. No worries about basement stuff going on here. There is a possibility of doing a spooky action glitch, which it looks like WeightyWords has set up. He did do the dash right before placing that block.
I'll let you explain this because this glitch is too spooky for me.
Fair enough, and it's certainly not October. So the game is a little weird. There's a certain number of sprites and a certain amount of data associated with those sprites. They're based in slots. The Fire Rod does both direct damage and splash damage if you hit a sprite on screen. If we were to use the flute to set a certain variable, the altitude variable, it's carried over when the Fire Rod uses the same slot. So by doing that, by storing that value and then hitting the Fire Rod in certain places, we can hit things from a distance, which we like to call spooky action at a distance, thanks to poor little Pinkus for coining that one.
And look at this, WeightyWords is now in the lead. Well, g3rd0 needed some magic. Ooh.
Yeah, they were both running pretty low going into the basement, and it's a pretty smart decision. You definitely want to be able to do the spooky glitch.
Alright, so I suspect we're going to head straight into Desert Palace at this point. We have boots, we have fire, we have swords, we have hammers, we have just about everything we need.
What is this, Mallow Mart?
You are here, you're so smart, you have shopped at Mallow Mart.
Congratulations, no one's getting that out of their head.
And this also means I am about to be fired again because I technically sung.
I think if we don't go the whole melody, we're probably going to be alright. Certainly,
Sinak is already... Sinak disagrees. We are in trouble.
Our runners have a lot of rupees. Perhaps they want to buy some magic armor. WeightyWords mirroring there. Remembering he had some time save. That's a clutch thing to remember because that's 2 screen transitions saved.
And we only need the small key in this front area. Desert Palace is go mode.
Yep, and we'll be able to take that all the way to the back, put on our Giant's Mask, and take on Twin Mold. No, wrong game. Lamolus.
I was wondering if you were going to go into the direction of Mulgara for a moment.
Beetlejuice is on the table.
Ugh, stupid sandworms.
I mean, the spice may need to flow. That's a bit
Well,
of a dated one at this point. Dune's kind of old.
Well, while we have some time to figure out whether we're dealing with spices or sweets, please follow our runners. They certainly deserve it with all the silly jokes we're putting up on here. Don't forget about my commentary partner, Yudai Monistic, and our trekker, Regaro. And sure, follow our tournament organizer, the Cynic, as well for putting up with us.
I can echo that statement. And of course, if you want to catch the rest of the tournament as well, your best place to see these races is going to be on the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. We also do use a few additional channels. Rely on Synac if he remembers the channel name, because I think we're using a different one than ALTTP Randomizer. That's information I don't want to get wrong. Okay, so it would be ALTTP Randomizer as well.
Alright, WeightyWords has access to Turtle Rock, but heading down here, which makes me suspect either Swamp Palace or Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, has the cash. We'll be heading towards Pyramid Fairy. There was something of importance there, which may pull us closer to our conclusion.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, don't worry. WeityWords got that one hook, line, and sinker. Thankfully, he's gonna have to go the long way to contemplate, exactly if whether or not he's gonna bounce back after this item.
I think you're stretching too much with these jokes.
Well, you may think I'm a dupe, but he does bring that bomb through an extra screen transition.
It's hard for me to keep up with you on this.
Well, for those of you who are wondering why I'm punning about this, the big bomb you can actually use to. Oh, that was actually 50. You can bring the big bomb through a screen transition if you let the timer expire right as you cross a screen transition. This can even be used across multiple screens in the overworld. So a couple of scenarios allow you to save some extra time with that. If we had killed Aghanim, the fastest way would have been just through the castle gate.
Okay, WeightyWords is officially in go mode at this point.
Hey, I mean, his last decision had explosive results. You know, he really knew how to take that to the next level and cross bridges with it.
While g3rd0 is wondering if these jokes are really the bomb.
You know, he is going to nuke a few seconds off of his, deficit here. Or I'm sorry, he's going to add a few, actually. Did not manage to do any kind of bomb dupe or any kind of movement, to allow him to dash with the bomb. You can actually take damage and dash in the few frames before you regain full control, and that allows you to do dashing speed with the bomb, if you're looking to save a little bit of extra time.
Okay, we need to pound these jokes into the ground. WeightyWords is entering Turtle Rock.
Well, certainly no earth-shattering revelations here at the entrance of Turtle Rock. WeityWords will open up with that coin, though.
And thus, open sesame!
So does that make this the catfish key?
I mean, if we're going by vanilla logic, but this isn't Link's Awakening, but I completely understand where you're going with this.
You have a good point. Well, crossing gaps, WeityWords is heading further into Turtle Rock proper. g3rd0 on his heels, actually, heading up to the top of the mountain as we speak. Both runners in a dead heat. I know there is some discussion in chat about who thinks, is going to be taking this victory, but even with the equipment that they have, it's pretty easy to make some missteps and lose a lot of HP in Ganon's Tower. Even Turtle Rock itself, these Chain Chomps would do green Link 4 hearts of damage as well as the rollers. So you're still likely to take a lot of damage in this segment.
Yeah, that lead that WeightyWords has, not guaranteed to last.
Although it is wise to point out that WeightyWords is exceptional, with his to have kind of created this advantage. Given that we have all the information at the outset of the race, any kind of lead you have going into GT is priceless.
Alright, g3rd0 has officially entered Turtle Rock, but has to make like a hare in order to get through this, which reminds me, tortoise versus hare, who did you folks at home choose?
Personally, Bunny Link Sprite.
I was going for a Splatoon 2 reference there. It doesn't matter. Alright, we have dealt with the chain chumps, let's move on.
I think we've turned the chat into Who's That Pokemon? References to Cthulhu.
Who knows what we're encountering anymore. Anyway, we need to pick up a small key. Is there treasure? Oh, never mind. We are not picking up that small key. I missed the pipe that WeightyWords was going in.
Getting some really nice double spins on these Pokies. There's actually 16 different RNGs that you can encounter in that room, and to be able to get one sword spin immediately for each of them is a pretty good reaction to that room. The fastest possible allows you to get both of them at once, but it's really unforgiving.
Hi, Mimic Cave. Bye, Mimic Cave. We didn't get to see you. Sorry.
Even though WeightyWords took a lot of damage on the way to the bottom here, g3rd0 also taking a fair amount of damage. Didn't take the damage from the Chain Chomps as WeightyWords did, but both of them do have to be very careful with the laser bridge coming up ahead. If they even need to. Yeah, they need to get another key.
Oh! I was wondering... Because, it's like, I could have sworn there was a... you could always get this key from the Poke right here. g3rd0 has temporarily taken the lead. Wow.
Yeah, there's your swing.
Oh, hold on. WeightyWords has it back.
Yeah, very wise application.
Yeah, by using the other entrance, able to mirror over here, and it's close to a dead heat again.
Yeah, you had another lead shift just like that. WeightyWords a couple of screen transitions ahead of g3rd0 at this point. Regaro and Chad making a great point in our tracker that there is a difference in the spoiler log between a big key chest and a big chest. Something that has absolutely tripped up a lot of people in this tournament already. Some of the naming conventions in the original game's logic are not as, they're not the same colloquial words that we would use when we talk about them. For example, the flute in the spoiler log is called the ocarina, inactive. So if you're looking for things, sometimes you might be, just the glance of your eye, assume the wrong thing.
But it literally is an ocarina. I mean, look at the sprite sheet. I don't know why it was ever called a flute. I mean, Zelda 1, that was a flute, or technically a whistle, but you get the point.
Wait, did you say that was a flute or a fluke?
Yes.
Well, with that, we are on the same screen. g3rd0 actually saving a little bit of time with a really nice cane dash. So they're really close at this point.
However, Trinex has been known to cause problems before. See what happens here.
Yeah, it's nice that they have the Tempered Sword to work with. It makes this a lot less stressful, but g3rd0 is actually going for a faster cycle by doing backdoor strats here. Unfortunately, misses his first Fire Rod shot. Will not be able to pull off a... Well, he might be able to get the one cycle.
Whoa, simultaneous Trinex destructions for the first two heads here.
Yeah, that's the difference between a 1 and 2 cycle with this fight. Definitely worth it to try and learn it. g3rd0, unfortunately, not as fast of the finish of the kill, but either way.
Alright, folks, pay very careful attention to these instructions. We are about to enter Ganon's tower. Our runners know where the big key is, so numbers are pointless. Tell me the specific room location. If the room has more than one chest, give me the specific chest in the room. Again, numbers will be flat out ignored. Give me a chest location, and we'll see if you're right.
All right, so I like to not look at these. So this is an entirely blind guess for me. I'm gonna call right side Ice Armos. I'm assuming you've already seen it, Wolfman.
I've forgotten, but I'm not guessing anyway, just to keep things integral.
Well, folks, unlike you folks at home, I do get the benefit of checking to see if I'm immediately correct or not, so BRB.
Near simultaneous entrances into the tower. Direction is chosen. Betting is over. Let's see where that big key is. Well, it's not the torch, but Bob is still dead anyway.
Yep, Rib and Pepperoni's Bob, you are our favorite pizza maker. g3rd0 with a slight advantage there for a second there, but that was just the menu timing.
And we are in the map chest. Alright, who said map chest?
Unfortunately, not I. Womp womp.
This is the first time I actually get to say this, but we have had no winners. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, no randomizer seeds to be handed out on this one. However, we are going to finish this very quickly at this point. It's interesting to see g3rd0 going to the right.
g3rd0 is out of arrows. There we go. g3rd0 now has arrows. Yeah, one of the disadvantages of the format is if you kind of forget about your ammo counts partway through and you need extra ammunition, you know, you have to think about where your backups are.
The extra tough part about this one, too, is that, you know, you only need the 2 arrows to get to the second mimic room. Once you're in this room, you can actually pick up more arrows from the pots. Getting double full magic decanters, interestingly enough. But at this point, g3rd0's really hoping that WeightyWords takes a lot of damage to have to be safer in the higher up rooms, which would afford him a few opportunities to take riskier strats and save time. That being said, it would be foolish to call this over before we get into the Ganon fight itself. I mean, even Ganon can kill our runners. They do not have a lot of health.
And they don't have magic potion either. So, and I don't... and without the mushroom, they can't even do the potion glitch when it comes to the anti-fairies.
Yeah, fake powder, definitely not on the table at all.
WeightyWords stocking up on some extra arrows, definitely a good idea. g3rd0 is going to have to stock up.
Yeah, those arrows are some of the last really convenient ones that you can get before Ganon proper, so I mean that's an important one to not miss. Talk about not missing. g3rd0 using his very last arrow. And g3rd0 skipping those arrows. I'm not sure where he's going to find arrows for the Ganon fight.
Now, technically, arrows aren't needed, but, you know, we can use silverless strategies even with the silver arrows, but that is actually a good point. We're
He
running
might get
out
a
of...
favorable drop.
Or perhaps one of the final chests has some.
Yeah, that would be about as clutch as it could get.
Alright, we are on Consolation Chest.
Yeah, I don't see any other arrows either.
One more heart container for the road. And, g3rd0, g3rd0, I think you missed a key back there.
Yeah, g3rd0 will be heading back for that key.
Oh, there were the
There,
arrows.
there.
I forgot about that one. And g3rd0 just realized, yep, need a key.
Alright, so note to self, you can get 5 more arrows there. That's an important stop.
And using the red potion, while WeightyWords still has theirs, as we are about to deal with some geometry, or trigonometry, or insert other ometry.
Agonometry?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Not a very good second phase or second cycle there, though. WeightyWords gets bailed out by a really nice triple setup. So if g3rd0 has a better Aghanim 2 fight, there's a cycle to be saved here.
Alright. We are approaching the Big Pig Ganon. There's the music that now transcends dimensions that the duck apparently doesn't like to hear. I still question that theory, Uday.
You know, it's debatable. I just see this bat flying away from where the source of the music was, and it just seems to make sense to me. Ooh, that triple from g3rd0, nice.
Alright, what are the words of wisdom today? Did you know that the Discord bot has a practice command? You should really be using it. Ganon, we have been using it.
Wow, the subtle digs. WeightyWords taking one of those Ganon hugs. That's a very costly mistake.
I may have to generate some more practice seeds just so I can see more of these.
Ooh, and I think WeightyWords might be missing that one. No, he got the, yeah, he needed to do an extra cycle here, so more opportunities for g3rd0 to potentially gain a few seconds back on him.
Here's the problem, though. Both WeightyWords and g3rd0 have to be careful. A Ganon hug from either means instant death, regardless of whether they have a potion.
Yeah,
actually, wait, 2
totals.
hearts. Yeah, for g3rd0, it's instant. WeightyWords should be able to survive, but it's still dangerous.
Well, it does also take time to use the potion as well. Those heart refill timing actually does, weigh in as a factor here. If WeightyWords can do this without healing, he's going to prefer to.
Alright, silver arrows were found in the Hyrule Castle area. That's 2 hits down. 3, preparing to light the torch again. No torch glitch, but shouldn't need it. So all WeightyWords has to do is cross the bridge.
And g3rd0 actually set up for a triple. Wow, what a close finish!
Indeed, but there can only be one winner. WeightyWords has finished in first place with an official SRL time, minus the study period, of 53 minutes, 8 seconds. g3rd0, 53 minutes, 22 seconds.
Just narrowly outside of the window of what we may consider a tie, for example. That 3-second window, or that might be different for this tournament. But the Ganon text here, Triforce text, excuse me, could not be more relevant. Not link this is certainly how I feel like anybody who just finished a race this close might feel. Also, thank you for clarifying, Zynak. It would be a 2-second window if it was to be a tie. That may be one of the closest. I don't think it's the closest race we've had, but definitely up there for this entire tournament so far. Of course, as we just mentioned, WeightyWords does pull into, he does win this series between the two of them, having won this race.
Indeed. Round of 8 is certainly going to be very intense. But, just minor things could easily change the outcome. And, both runners had some minor missteps, but I honestly suspect the big one was g3rd0 forgetting about that small key in right at the top.
Well, speaking of g3rd0, looks like we have him in the waiting room. Go ahead and pull him in for a quick interview. And we are joined by g3rd0, GG.
Yo, GG.
What a crazy finish. Were you by any chance, did you have the restream open, or did you know how close it was?
I saw what happened.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I threw at like 10 different spots. Twice in GT. But it still was really close. Like, it was a crazy race. It was really fun to watch, I'm pretty sure.
You're absolutely right about that. We were on the edge of our seats the entire time. You're going to have to forgive Wolfman and I for the density of puns in this commentary.
Yeah, no problem, dude. I can live with that.
But definitely a great watch for everybody involved. Just to see how close this ended up at the very end. And we actually got to see a lot of diversions between the two of you as well. Very different routes to get to the same place. So, you may have felt like there were a number of errors. Honestly, between the two of you, it's just amazing to see how close it got.
Which reminds me, WeightyWords, GG.
Yo, GG.
Hi, yo, GG's g3rd0. What a race! Oh man.
Yeah. We both did our best to throw this race, I had a feeling.
Yeah, I had 2 giant throws, and but oh my gosh, I was sweating a little bit at the end there.
Wait, you guys said you had 2 giant throws, but nobody put any bottles in any fairy fountains. Strange.
Wait, what was the prize for that?
No idea.
So, if you were to throw the bottle in the waterfall fairy, you would have gotten red potion. Pyramid fairy, green potion.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah.
That's not something I check either.
I kind of wanted to ask both of you, there was a green potion opportunity in Eastern Palace that both of you passed up. Did either of you guys see that in your spoiler log, or were you just simply skipping it?
I mean, it was the right side chest, right? That's kind of out of the way.
Yeah, I saw that and I decided to skip it. I also was considering half magic at checkerboard, but I also decided to skip that because you have tempered and silvers, and you have lamp, so it's not really a huge deal magic-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, I see how I misread it. That was map chest, not compass. Okay, thanks.
I always mix up which one is map and compass with Eastern Palace. Though, speaking of Eastern, both of you ended up making what looked like the same type of mistake, so I know that due to the nature of this tournament, we can have both of you basically listening in here. Who was listening in when it came down to Tempered Sword in Big Chest Eastern? I'm just curious.
I only checked the restream kind of when I was opening GT, and then I saw how close it was, and I started freaking out.
Yeah, I had a feeling. So that actually speaks to a different thing about spoiler log races. I get the feeling that both of you, having returned back for that tempered sword, both of you looked at your log as you were getting close to the end of Eastern Palace. Is that right?
Yeah, for me, I wrote it down in my notes, but I was trying to look up, I think GT key routing while I was trying to go through Eastern, since Eastern's easy. So I just completely skipped over the big chest.
Yeah, I had it in my notes as well. It's just, like, at that point, your brain is kind of in go mode already, so you're not really checking anything except for keys.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Okay.
you kind of just forget about that, even though it's right there in front of you on your notes.
Alright, you die, our jobs are safe for another day.
Yeah, we've been fired and rehired and threatened to be fired without severance yet again. So I think we're in the clear on that one. Now I want to ask, of course, g3rd0, this would be the end of your tournament life here. Are you going to be joining any future spoiler log tournaments? I mean, I'm excited to see you do one.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I like the format quite a lot. It's easy to throw in here, you know. But the races are always pretty fun, I feel like. And I heard a lot of people say that the 15 minutes prep time is a lot of stress and so on, but I don't really feel like that. I really enjoy doing the route in 15 minutes, even though I'm not very good at it, as you might have noticed during this race. I still think it's very fun.
I still think you would have beat this 20 minutes faster than me, so I mean, I'm not one to critique on that level.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat. I have not really. I want to get a 110 or better, and the closest I've gotten is 115.
I'm just glad we got a good seed at the end. Our first two were not good at all. This one was pretty nice.
Yeah, the first two ones, like the ones yesterday, I mean, they were both kind of terrible, with a forced master sword and so on, but this one was a lot nicer.
Yeah, this one was a nice seed.
Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to get your opinions. I guess I'll start with g3rd0 first on some of the puns, since we do have some new text in this particular split of the Randomizer website. Did either of you, I guess I'll ask g3rd0 first, notice the blind pun?
No, I don't really pay attention to the text there.
Okay, so this was good. Blind says, I can't search the web, too many links.
I think that was on our blind one yesterday. I didn't notice it today, but I think that was on our blind one yesterday.
I have absolutely no clue. Like I never pay attention to those text boxes. But,
Well,
yeah.
for those of you who are tuning in for the rest of the tournament, though, please do keep in mind when you watch these to look out for special text boxes. There have been some unique suggestions made by the spoiler log community that we're getting to debut a little bit in these races, which is kind of a fun extra reason to be tuning in.
So, any final thoughts from our runners before we take care of some minor administrative stuff?
Yeah, thanks for commentating, thanks for tracking and setting all this stuff up, and thanks to the tournament admins, because this has been a really fun tournament. I'm really liking spoiler log races.
Yeah, same. Just thanks to the admins, the commentators, and so on, and good luck to Weighty in future rounds, of course.
Thanks, man. It was a good series.
Yeah.
We're certainly looking forward to the rest as well, and definitely appreciate the great words from the two of you. And as Wolfman was alluding to, we do have some small things to tidy up with the stream. Of course, if you've enjoyed the race that you've seen today, and I certainly have, best way to show these guys some support is to give them a follow here on Twitch. Both of them will be posted in the chat shortly, as well as, of course, the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming 2 through 6. If you want to catch the rest of the restreamed races, you can also check them out on the schedule if you want to see what's coming up next. And Wolfman said it earlier, he extended an invitation to follow the commentators and trackers. Definitely give Wolfman a follow, and Reg. Reg actually, had all of the information for the crystals and pendants on the tracker for us when we started. Certainly a lot more fast-paced than the normal tracking duty, so we salute you. Thank you.
Alright, let's cover some of the upcoming events, because today is a loaded day here. Going in a channel order, on Speed Gaming at 3 o'clock, we have the Ori and the Blind Forest All Cells Tournament Championship. So that's going to be exciting. Heading to Speed Gaming 2 right now, we have the Link to the Past Randomizer League between Rush the Nintendo Swag versus Les French Canadiens. Speed Gaming 3, we are going to continue with a Link to the Past Randomizer spoiler log match between Ausse 101 versus Pink Kitty Rose. If you wish to stay on this channel, 2:30, we're going to have Asder versus Elgadison instead on Speed Gaming 4. And if you wish to head to Speed Gaming 5 instead, we have the Link to the Past Super Metroid Randomizer Community Race. So we have many events happening right here. Alright, Uday, I think that will cover things here. So, any final thoughts?
Not much. From here in the commentary booth, the top of Death Mountain looking down on Hyrule. It has certainly been a fun experience to cast this one with you, Wolfman. I'm looking forward to getting another opportunity to as we advance further into the bracket. Of course, if you want to get involved in spoiler log races, we're starting to do more regular ones. So, I mean, you definitely want to keep an eye on both the Randomizer Discord, of course, the spoiler log tournament Discord, if you want to get as much information as possible in advance for that. I've been Eudaimonistic, joined today by Wolfman2000. Thank you, folks, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next spoiler log.
Until then, watch out for Moldorms. Enjoy!